News from the criminal courts. One man is facing a slew of charges after police say he beat his daughter with a piece of lumber. Another man was arrested for allegedly assaulting his mother while she was at work, and a woman is charged after she assaulted a man in the presence of police. A woman filed a report with police saying her father, 59-year-old Neville Coke, beat her with a 2x4 after she complained that he didn't hand over all the money she'd asked him to withdraw on her behalf. The woman told police that she asked Coke to take $800 from her bank account on December 9th. He returned home, handed over some money, and then left the house again. The woman says when she realized her father had only given her $600, she called him. He returned home, began arguing, and then she says her dad picked up the lumber from behind a chair in the living room and began beating her with it and punching her in the head. She went to police to report the assault and was transported to the Myra Keating Clinic to treat injuries to her left arm, left leg, and the left side of her face. Police tracked Coke down to Coco Gyms and arrested him. He was brought before the court on Monday on charges of assault in the third degree as an act of domestic violence, possession of a dangerous weapon during a violent crime, and disturbance of the peace. Bail was set at $1,000 and Coke was allowed to sign an unsecured bond for release. The usual bail conditions apply, including travel restrictions and prohibition of contact and possession of controlled items and substances. Coke will be escorted to the home by law enforcement officials one last time to pick up his belongings. Also before the courts on Monday was Jaquan Joseph Hodge, arrested after violating a restraining order to accost his mother at her workplace. His mother had taken out the restraining order effective November 23, 2022. However, the woman told police that she was at work on the morning of December 11th when Hodge texted her asking for the spare keys to his grandmother's home as he was locked out. The woman told Hodge that she wasn't leaving work, so he would have to wait outside until someone was available to let him in. Hodge instead turned up at the Home Depot where his mother worked and rushed her for the keys, grabbing her around the neck and throwing her to the ground. One of his mother's co-workers intervened and Hodge fled. Police did not observe any visible injuries, but Hodge's mother complained of pain resulting from the fall. Officers found Hodge near 4th Street later that day. When questioned, he admitted to having been served the restraining order and admitted to going to his mother's workplace, but denied assaulting her. He was arrested and charged with simple assault as an act of domestic violence, disturbance of the peace, and violation of a restraining order. In court on Monday, a judge ruled that Hodge be allowed to sign an unsecured bond for the full $1,000 bail. The usual bail conditions apply, including an order to start looking for work. His next court appearance is on December 28th. Lastly, Shanika Mathra was in court on Monday to face charges after she hit a man in front of police who were responding to a disturbance call at her apartment. The officers had arrived on site to find the two struggling to gain control of a hammer that both of them were holding. When the police called out to them to drop the weapon, the woman, later identified as Mathra, yelled back, "No," but the man was able to wrestle the hammer away from her and hand it over to the officers. Police then separated the two, escorting Mathra inside the apartment, but she burst back out and started hitting the man in his face and about his body. Once again, police separated the pair, marched Mathra back inside the apartment, and then arrested her for assault. The man told officers that he had woken up to use the bathroom just before 2 a.m. and found Mathra on her cell phone. When he asked her why she was on her phone at that time of the morning, he says she began hitting him in the face and ordering him out of her house. He says he tried to restrain the angry Mathra, but she went outside to her car and got the hammer. When she got back to the house, one of her hammer swings connected, catching him in the left arm. He called 911 and Mathra began targeting his cell phone. He says she hit him in the face again, bruising his lip. Mathra admitted to police that she did hit the man before they got there and said that she had allowed him to stay with her because he was ill, but now she no longer wanted him at her residence. Mathra was arrested and charged with third-degree assault as an act of domestic violence, simple assault and battery as an act of domestic violence, and disturbance of the peace by fighting. Mathra was ordered to post $1,500 in cash with the remainder of her $15,000 bail requirement due as an unsecured bond. The usual bail conditions apply, although she is not restricted from travel.